let's read the written feature match. We'll do a read through and just talk about like what my thought process was, I suppose. So for round 3 here at YCS Niagara Falls, we'll be giving you a look at one of our VIP duelists. After starting the day with buys round 1 and 2, these star competitors are now just entering the tournament fresh and ready to duel. Toronto's Jesse Kotton is the most decorated duelist in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! He's a Master Duel World Champion, a 5-time World competitor, and a 6-time YCS Champion, an Ultimate Duelist, and above all else, undisputed Ultimate Duelist as well. He's playing Fire King Snake Eye. Yeah, I know his opponent, Chris Bialeski, is from Buffalo, New York, and crossed the bridge at the border to get here today with his biggest claim to fame being a top 8 finish at Remote Duel Regional. A win here over Kotton could be a star-making performance. Bialeski's piloting a branded deck that aims to special summon Gimmick Puppet Nightmare to his opponent's field to secure the win, a strategy that can take down even a mighty duelist like Kotton. Bialeski run the die roll and opted to start the duel. That's crazy. They started with Bialeski instead of Chris. Like, but I understand. So I won the die roll and started the duel with branded opening. Jesse chained Mulcharmy Fool Loss essentially, and then I discarded Dogmac and Maximus and added a Luber Jester of Despia and then normal summoned it. So yeah, essentially like I got Fool Lost off the bat, and so this was that interaction I kind of mentioned before where in the deck profile where instead of special summoning off of opening, I just chose to normal summon a Luber because I also had Book of Eclipse in hand. So I was like, I can definitely just like play around any imperms that happen. And then Luber's effect goes off, I get Branded Fusion, and then I activated Branded Loss, so I even get more advantage, and then I go Branded Fusion. And Kotton activated his second copy of Fool Loss, which was interesting to see. I mean, either way, I was going to go Branded Fusion, and then I sent Fallen of Albaz and Cartesia to the graveyard. I summoned out the Sanctifier Dragon immediately because that's just like a good... Sanctifier's your best anti-Fool Loss line in Branded, so... it just gives them one draw, so besides like Nadir Servant. And Jesse drew into Dominus Impulse, an original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye, and he activated Branded Loss effect. Damn, that Dominus Impulse draw really saved him there. He activated Branded Loss effect, and then I added Tri-Brigade Mercourier, which is good to play around hand traps, but that didn't matter, or even insulate my board. And then I activated Nadir Servant, so I'm even playing more, just like not giving him any draws, because I sent Albion the Branded Dragon instead of going for the Maximus, because Maximus would have... This was one of those situations where I already have Sanctifier on board, and I don't want going blind into a deck that could... Because I knew Jesse was going to be on a fire deck, so he could have been on Snake Eye. He could have had a Desiree in his deck, so I didn't want him sending Desiree and then sending the Sanctifier to the graveyard. If I had gambled, I might have had a better board, but that's fine. And then I was able to set Branded and Red off of Albion's effect. I also set one card, one mysterious card. I believe that was like a Super Poly or a Book of Eclipse. And then Jesse started his turn with 1-for-1. So Jesse's hand was 1-for-1. Fire King Sanctuary, 2 Folos. And Garunix, he drew Draw and Lockbird for a turn. So I think that's the wrong hand because that was his opening hand. He used the 2 Fool Loss, and then he drew into cards. In the draw phase, I activated the set Brand Red and target Brand of Fallen of Albaz, and then Jesse chained Dominus Impulse to negate the effect of Branded in Red. And this was the point where Jesse did a big think, and then I just he had like 5 other cards in hand, and then he impulsed that, so that left me on basically having a Mercourier and then my Mysterious set, so that wasn't great. And then Jesse went 1-for-1, sending Garunix, special summon Snake Eyes Ash, and then he tried to activate Ash but was stopped by Mercourier. Mercourier did Snake Eye Ash, which I thought was fair. If he just has no other extenders and I stop him there, like I kind of put him on better have at that point when I only have like 2 interruptions. I could have waited for something maybe, but like I could have probably waited maybe. And then because I'm trying to think, with the rest of his hand, he started Sanctuary 1-for-1 Garunix. So if he's starting from Ash, he goes Ash into Poplar. Yeah, I don't know. I think that was probably correct. And then he activated Jesse activated Sanctuary, placed Fire King Island on the field, and then sent Ash and Sanctuary to the graveyard to activate Ash's effect. Kotton special summon the activated Snake Eye Oak and special summon back the Ash he just sent. Khan then activated original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye by sending Snake Eye Ash to the graveyard. He special summoned Ponix, and activated its effect. Had the Fire King Skyburn, which is just crazy. He's main decking Skyburn. The Skyburn actually wins him this game, to be honest. If he didn't have Skyburn, I think I was just fine. Because he activates Fire King Island effect, added Arvada to his hand, and then Cotton activated Grunix effect, special summoning. He activated Grunix, destroying the Kieran in his deck, and then activated Kieran's effect and special summoning the Ponix and destroyed my face down Book of Eclipse. So yeah, that was a Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse would have at least maybe given me another turn. Cotton then summoned special or ROTA. Then he activated Oak's effect and set itself in Grunix to special summon out Flame. Khan attempted to push Fallen of Albaz, hit Spawn Trap Card Zone, but then I chained Sanctifier, and then I summoned it, and then he lets it through, but he has the Skyburn. So, I mean, I guess he would have had Arvada either way to negate the Sanctifier there, but obviously I could have went Sanctifier before Arvada and then went into something, which would have been Mercury, or sorry, Rinbrum's really good against this deck because they obviously have to go through the extra deck to really, like, climb into other things. So I think Rinbrum would have been nice here. Also, it's something kind of... I didn't realize how good Rinbrum was against Fire King, but Rinbrum is really good against Fire King because it's a super poly target and then just its on-field effect also. So, game 2, after I conceded, I chose to start the duel. Jesse started with Black Witch, wanted Garunix, Fuelos, and Flamebird, so he's just like starting Fuelos every game. It's crazy. Like, actually crazy. I started the second duel with that Grasslook Screener. He milled 18 cards, and then I activated the effect Tragedy and searched out Aluber, and then I normal summoned Aluber and added Branded Fusion. I then activated Branded Fusion, and then he chained Molcharmy. And then Fusion resolved, and I sent Cartesian Albaz, summoned Sanctifier. Once again, the Molcharmy line. He drew a Deception, and then I activated Foolish Burial, sending Saranir, which sent Retribution. Then Albion was activated in the graveyard, sent Branded Lost from his deck to the graveyard, and then I activated Retribution's effect and added back the activated Branded Lost, and then I set one mysterious card, and then ended my turn. So that was a clean, just Molcharmy line. He drew one card, and I have Gimmick Lockup plus I'm gonna get Mercurier off the Branded Lost. So Cotton then drew into another Fuelos, and then in draw phase I go Branded in red, targeting Albaz. Cotton chained the Fuelos, and then I summon out Borreload Furious, and then he draws into Sanctuary off of Fuelos' effect, and then I use Brand Lost and Sanctifier's effect, adding the Mercurier, and then special summon Gimmick Puppet Nightmare to Jesse's field. Unable to special summon non-Gimmick Puppet monsters, Khan immediately conceded the second duel. You'll love to hear it. You'll love to hear it. No Dominus Impulse for him today. And then this third game was a lot more not decisive. It was like I think I definitely could have won the game. So I kind of wanted to go over this because considering my hand, I had one of the best hands I could have probably had. So Jesse went first, obviously, and then he started off with Deception, Ash Blossom, Dominus Impulse, Poplar, and Sacred King Garunix. In the draw phase, I activated Molcharmy Purrely because that's what you want to do in the draw phase. You want to use it before their normal summon. And Cotton obviously changed Ash to that because I think like Purrely is almost as good against Fire King because a lot of their monsters go through their hand. And so that goes through, and then going into the main phase, he activates Deception as first action, and then pitched Garunix. So he had a good graveyard already. Having Garunix in graveyard, like, that's what ends up messing me up later in this game. And he added Hallowed Azamina. Cotton activated Hallowed, and I chained Molcharmy Fuelos. Con sent Hallowed in Deception to special summon Azamina Illa Sylvia. Oh yeah, so Cotton activates Hallowed, Sacred Hallowed Azamina, which is their fusion spell that gets them into the Searcher or the Omni Negate. And so at this point, it's like the best angle to Molcharmy Fuelos. So I obviously go Molcharmy. He has no Ash anymore. So now I'm able to start drawing, and he ends up going to Sylvia. He doesn't go for the Risalago because he's obviously under full loss. He doesn't want to make me draw more cards. And then he normal summoned Poplar, and kind of activated Poplar's effect and added Original Sinful. He then goes Original Sinful to send Poplar, special summon Ponix. He activates Ponix, getting Sanctuary. Because he gives me the 2 draws. It's kind of like why I would give draw 2 under Nadir. He just gets so much advantage off of this. Plus, he knows I don't have hand traps, which activated and placed Island on the field. Cotton then used Island and destroyed Ponix. He had Kieran, which gets him an interruption on my turn. He then brought back Garunix. He activated Garunix's effect, destroyed Arvada. Arvada effect, special summon back Ponix for more bodies. Then Khan went to his end phase, or went to end his main phase, and during the end phase, Ponix was destroyed by Arvada's effect. And then during then I drew for turn. My hand's insane though. So I have double Molt Charmy, Super Poly plus double Aluber. I draw into Albion and Cartesia off of the Fua loss, and then I start my main phase 1 with going Albion the Shrouded Dragon, and then I start Fallen of Albaz because I have an angle to go Branded in red and then also Branded Fusion. So I want to set up the Branded red going second for the Chimera play. I don't have to get to Branded Fusion with this hand through the graveyard, so that's just fine. And then I drew a card, which was the Grass Looks Greener, which is just insane. Grass Looks Greener is really good, especially going second when I have things like Black Goat and Shadal Dragon, which isn't as good against Fire King, obviously. And then I activated Cartesia from my hand. I special summoned it since I have the Albaz in hand now. And then I activated Super Poly immediately because I wanted to get rid of the Ray Silvera, or sorry, the Ilia Sylvia. So this is maybe my first misplay because considering my hand, I had Grass, Branded Fusion, double Aluber, and then Super Poly. So I just special summoned out Cartesia. So this was a situation where I could have possibly baited the Ilia and just had him negate it and then save the Branded Fusion, or sorry, the Super Poly for later, because I had so much gas and he had 2 cards in hand at that point that I could have probably just waited on the Branded Fusion or the Super Poly. Like, you would think me going first action Super Poly after normal summoning or special summoning Cartesia would have been the play, because that gives me Grand Guignol. It's going to trigger off the Garunix, which it does later. But like, the thing is, I give up advantage using the Super Poly off the bat, and then also the Ilia is going to remove itself off the Omni Negate. Like, that was just my theory with it. I think this was actually just fine. The Super Poly play was probably just fine here. And because then Guignol sent Titaniclad, and then I drew into Spriggan's Kit. Okay, so I draw into Spriggan's Kit instead of one of the cards, I think. Or additionally, so that's why I sent Titaniclad off of Grand Guignol after Guignol triggers. So I can summon the Kit off of special summoning when I have Cartesia on the board. Or sorry, not Cartesia. And then, so I could also get Branded Red and Branded Fusion, which is kind of cool. But at this point, I have like 4 cards in hand off the Super Poly, so I'm starting to get down in card advantage, which is a little tricky. And then I activated Kit. Kit adds Branded Fusion. I put Grass Looks Greener to the bottom of my deck. This is where I'm talking about I wish I had a Shiren, because if I had a Shiren in my deck, I probably didn't even need to go the Kit line. And then I could have just went Grass first and hopefully hit Shiren and then get what Kit was going to get anyway. And then I wouldn't have to put back a card off of Kit, and I would have the discard of Kit. So I could have more card advantage. I think that's pretty important. And then I normal summon a Aluber and I add Brandon Red. And then I go Brandon Red targeting Fallen of Albaz. And then I go into Guardian Chimera off the Cartesia with a Aluber in hand. Or sorry, Cartesia on field, Aluber. Apparently, yeah, I think I summoned another Cartesia, right? Yeah, he just like missed it in here. And then I activated Guardian Chimera's effect and destroyed Fire King Sanctuary and Island. But Kotton used Sanctuary's effect and substituted Grunix with Sanctuary's effect and protected his island from destruction. This was my biggest misplay by far. I probably should have made I should have made Mirror Jade here. I just should have made Mirror Jade here instead of Guardian Chimera. I needed to banish something. I needed to banish his monster on field so things weren't being destroyed. And essentially, I went for the greedy play with Chimera to get more card advantage and pop 2 cards. I thought that it was like Rinnik Hugin, where Hugin, if you target Hugin and then you target Rinnik Fountain, you are able to pop both of them, and Hugin can't protect. But because Sanctuary mentions a card in hand, the ruling is you can actually protect with Sanctuary from being popped by itself plus another card it would be protecting, essentially, if you have a card in hand to destroy. So I misplayed there. I should have went a Mirror Jade there, but I'm still like fine. I still have like a lot of card advantage. And then he's able to go Ponix effect, then he activated Search, and I chained Guignol, summon Guiding Quem. I didn't special summon Gwem from my graveyard. It was from my deck. And then I activated Quem's effect and sent Albion the Shrouded from to his graveyard. And I tried to activate Brand Fusion, but was stopped by Dominus Impulse. So I got impulsed 2 out of my 3 games with like seeing Furos, basically all the games. Going into battle phase, I attacked with and this was my next biggest misplay because I had, I think, like Chimera and Quem on board. I attacked into Ponix with Grunix in graveyard, and this is just like, I tested against Fire Kings, and this was just like an interaction that never came up in testing. Really, which was kind of surprising. We're just like attacking over and then just triggering Grunix. Like usually I'm clearing things with Mirror Jade, obviously, so I just misplayed my hand pretty badly on that point, but Kieran's effect let Khan special summon Arvado and destroying the guy in Quem. I go main phase 2, and then my end phase, and the end phase I have back Cartesia and tempting Titaniclad's effect, but I stop by the Arvada. So yeah, no, that's just when everything goes wrong at that point. And then he draws Kieran for turn, activates Sinful Spoils, save guy in graveyard, targeting the Poplar. He had the Snake Eye Oak to his hand and sent the Poplar to the bottom of the deck. He activates Hal Azmina, sending back Ilya to the extra deck. Normal summon Oak, go Ponix. Yeah, basically he just wins from here. Cotton then activate Kieran, Grunix in graveyard, and I conceded, knowing that there's about to be an onslaught of Fire King monsters. So yeah, that was a fun game. GG's to Jesse Kotton. It was my first time playing against him. And it was definitely a fun one. I just definitely tossed this game. Like, my hand of Super Poly double Luber plus double Mold Charm me into 2 draws, which were really good, like grass and stuff like that. I definitely like punted it. If I had, you know, things to consider with like having Shiren in my deck, making grass more of a board breaker there, I had such a good hand and I misplayed, and that's just what happens. You know, you let nerves get to you, get the better of you. I was very confident too at that point when I had Super Poly. Like I kind of just didn't even think. I just kind of thought I had the game at that point. I didn't think about Dominus Impulse, frankly. So the Dominus Impulse kind of was huge in this scenario. Like if I hadn't gotten Dominus Impulse, I just would have been fine. But the Dominus Impulse basically made my misplays before just like, it made it so much worse. So things to learn, of course. And I hope you guys enjoyed my written feature match as much as I enjoyed playing it. In GG's to Jesse Kotton, and good job on doing well. Looking forward to the next run back. But yeah, no, I did not win, Zeke. That's okay though. I know I could have won. Like, we know what Jesse's hand was. If I played my turn optimally, I would have won that game. So, and Jesse won that fair and square because I didn't. You know, that's the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! It's about the player that misplays the least, and like Jesse's just such a seasoned player. He's not going to be misplaying, so when I'm misplaying, he's obviously just going to be the person that's going to win in that scenario, especially with a deck like Branded, where if you lose to one misplay, like, you really do. And that's, I misplayed though like two arguably 3 times in that game 3. Game 2 and 1 I played just fine. It was just that game 3 I should have taken more time. And like, there was also things behind the scene, like, you know, just like with being, you know, having 2 judges over you, just like with time being an issue. Like, I didn't want to take too long with thinking out my turn. So I should have probably just taken a little bit more time to think out my plays there. Yeah, no, I definitely had the nerves a little bit, but like, I was very much happy. It was just the nerves game 3, very much. Is Branded still best deck? Real question, says Branded Lorian. I still love Branded, but it's definitely not the best deck this format. It's the best fusion deck, but I think this is just another tier 0 fire format, so you can't just like, I can't lie to you guys. I still love Branded though, and I think it's the best non-fire deck though. All right, so yeah, no, that was that. We're gonna watch the pack video now, I think. We'll watch the pack video now. So shout out to Pack. Let's watch. Yeah, let's watch his video.